Hello, hello. It's Margarita Everline again. I'm so excited. I've got two Care Sandwich podcasts for you today. My next guest knows how to get law firm leads, and she also helps to convert them. But first, watch this quick video.
Welcome to Care Sandwich, the podcast where we dive into the success journeys of law firm owners across the country. I'm Margarita Everline, your host and the founder of Marketing Boss, a fractional chief marketing officer firm for law firms. On this show, we'll explore the challenges, strategies, and victories that have shaped law firms and how they wrap every interaction with care. Because we believe that caring isn't just a value, it's a strategy for success. So grab your favorite sandwich, sit back, and let's dig into a conversation filled with insight, inspiration, and of course, a lot of care.
Thank you so much for watching today's episode, or second episode of Care Sandwich. I have a very special guest. There she is. K'Lee Terrazas is with Legal Lead Sharks, and she also has a separate business that's all about intake. K'Lee, tell us about yourself.
Yeah, so my name's K'Lee Terrazas, like you said, born in Texas, but in Oklahoma City for the last 12 years. So go Thunder. We finally pulled out a championship. But yeah, I'm the founder of Legal Lead Sharks. We're a digital marketing agency that focuses on getting our clients to the top of Google. So client acquisition for Google ads, LSA ads, and the map pack. And in that, we kind of fell into intake EQ because when you're running a lot of marketing, one thing you find out really quickly is your intake on point or not? And I would find 9 times out of 10, it wasn't. So it was the next problem
I
to
can
solve.
relate. I was doing marketing for a really long time with law firms and had the same realization as well. And I know you and I were talking about before the show, about sales and intake. But first, I would love for you to walk us through how did you get started like on this track to help attorneys? And then how do you help them get cases?
Yeah, that's a great story, actually. So I've been in digital marketing since 2016. Before that, I was in sales for the bulk of my career, mainly like medical sales, or I did some like investing, Series 6 and 63. Fell into marketing because I think like every great entrepreneur, I had a total face flop with my first venture. It was an app that we were developing and spent a ton of money, didn't know, and just I learned I know how to sell, but I need a website and like people to on a broader scale. That kind of led me into digital marketing back in 2016. And it wasn't until about 3 years ago that I got my first law firm. And it was, long story short, my husband was working for a marketing agency that sells signed cases, if you will.
Oh, lead gen.
They would do all of the intake. They would do everything. Yeah, they would do lead gen. It was not the right company for him. He ended up leaving, but one of the customers or one of the law firms that he had, he's like, hey, can your wife help me with my Google ads? And I was like, ooh, I've never run Google ads at that level, and he's like, well, you can't do worse than the other agency. So that was my first experience with legal, and I loved it. I'm like, man, this is a high stakes, it's competitive, and there's just so many touch points that could go wrong that if you're not doing them right, you're just burning money on Google ads. I always tell people Google ads can be a money printing machine or a money burning pit. And the secret is in the middle, somewhere in the middle, and making sure there's so many different pieces that are working.
I love
properly.
that because as a CMO, I audit campaigns. We audit campaigns. I don't. I wish I could do it all. My team does. We audit campaigns, and we're able to diagnose if it's a marketing channel issue, but oftentimes it's an execution issue when it comes to Google. And it's unfortunate because, I can think of a handful of attorneys where they've given up on Google because they have what I call marketing PTSD from from the channel, but it's not really
Yeah.
the channel. It's just poor execution. And it is very painful because that's a lot of money that can get lost if you're not being thorough. It's a highly technical channel. So it's not like TV where you just make a commercial and then you send it to the station and it runs. It's highly technical. And I'm sure you can tell us all about that. When you decided to launch the intake arm of your business, was there something specific that happened that inspired that? Or was it just like a pattern and then one day you're like, I'm going to take on a new venture? Or tell us how that happened.
Yeah. So the first personal injury client that I got, I went in and did an audit on his account. I had a checklist that Google Ads agencies doing a good for him. His was not. So it was kind of a reset. Just basic things were not being done properly. Google Ads is kind of a tricky beast because 80% of Google's revenue, and they are going to charge the verticals. Like, for example, if you're in family law, you're going to pay a lot different cost per click than if you're in personal injury, because Google knows, who's making more money: roofers, mortgage lenders, anybody that has high ticket, they're going to charge the most for. So,
but it's also based on an auction too. Like, I mean, if a lot of people start buying, roofing, then as a keyword, then that'll go up too. But yeah, absolutely. And so when you did this audit and started to do these audits, then what happened? Walk us through that.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I looked at the change history in Google Ads. A little bit. So it was one of the unfortunate set it and forget it big marketing firms. I can do your website, I can do your everything. And typically it will start really well, and then it will taper off into you've been on autopilot, no one's touching your account. So after I saw the change history, I thought, oh shoot. And I went into the search term audits to see if they were going through
consistently in
weekly
real time.
Spending, yeah. Right off the bat, I think just in 1 month, it was about anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 of his budget was completely wasted on irrelevant clicks that were reoccurring basis. They weren't even the right legal vertical. So the conversion tracking wasn't set up right. The call tracking wasn't set up right. It was just a mess,
Right.
And Google, like you said, it's a bidding system, but it's also an AI system. So if you're running it right, you're giving the machine good data, you're going to get good results. And if someone takes their foot off the gas and they're not paying attention and it starts getting a lot of bad data and you're not telling it it's bad data, then you're just going to your whole account's going to be trashed. And you literally just have to kind of start over from scratch again, because now it has months of bad data that it's going to pull in all the wrong people. So at face value, Google Ads can seem very basic. I put in an ad, I put in some money and turn it on. But I tell people it's like looking at a machine that has like 5 keys on the keypad, but then you pop it open and you're like, oh crap, like what's going on under here? Like they make it look like it's really easy, but it's honestly not. There's a lot of technical things in the background.
And there's also ways that I think some marketing agencies might game the system. So I once audited a campaign where the law firm was having trouble converting the leads. And my initial thought was, okay, let's launch Connect Convert and really focus on, sales and intake. But they were still struggling. And then we did another audit of the campaign, and they were using keywords like affordable lawyer. And I'm like, well, no wonder we can't overcome the pricing objection. Like, what are you doing? And they were like, oh, we thought you wanted us to target. We're like, no, we asked you to add it as a negative keyword, negative, not target. So sometimes that happens. But tell us about your intake arm of your business. Like, how does it work? How do you help with that? Aside from targeting correctly, like what are some tips that any law firm can apply from what you know with intake?
I said this came directly from the bottleneck of once I got the working on for the personal injury lawyer, my first legal client, once I got it up and running and I'm like, yes, this is firing. This is looking good. And then he called me one month and said, K'Lee, these leads are crap. And I was like, I can see what they're searching. Like car accident lawyer in Gallup. Like, I mean, if you can't convert that, maybe we should turn off the. So then
I'm laughing because I can relate so much. Like, I feel like I've talked to a gazillion. They're like, "Oh, my marketing's not working," and I'm like, "Well."
Yeah. Something's not working, but we're gonna have to figure out what it is. So process of elimination. I thought he raved about his intake. He had intake team, and then he had, of course, like every lawyer, overflow nights and weekends. But he loved his intake team, and I was like, as you should probably. But I thought to myself, something's off here. So they were recording their calls and I had access to that. So I listened to about 5 calls and actually called myself on a Saturday morning, knowing after hours, overflow, nights and weekends, those are going to be the worst for your intake, right? Notoriously. And so my very first call I made, and I made it from the Google Ads number, which has a whisper message for anyone answering. This is a Google Ads lead. So priority, right? So I call and it rang like 11 times and I was just about to hang up and a guy came on the phone and said, hello. And I was like, what? So I pulled my cell phone away from my face and had to look at the number because I'm like, did I dial this wrong? And I said, is this XYZ law firm? Yeah, can I help you? And I'm like, oh,
I just need to explain something for attorneys that are listening that maybe haven't run Google Ads or don't realize what this means. Like, that one phone call could represent $600, $1,000 if it's personal injury or another high. Like, that hurts.
Yes. I mean, if it's catastrophic, it could be a multi-million-dollar case. And I would have, if I were the customer, like looking for a law firm, I would have hung up and called someone else because there's a level of etiquettes that you from the legal niche that you expect, but really just etiquettes of answering the phone as a business owner. Like, you introduce yourself and you introduce who you work for, who you're representing. And then the whole point of the lead is you need my information. What am I calling about? What's my name?
Right.
And so anyways, I was like, I know I don't want to, what I did is I took 5 of the call recordings. I emailed it to him and said, let me know what you think of these. And he emailed me back and said, what do I need to do?
Oh my gosh. I love that. And I'm going to say this with as much tenderness as I can, but many law firm owners think that they have a really good intake team. And it is a little bit tough to be the one to say, just because your folks are polite, that doesn't mean they're a good intake team. Like, in our sales program, Connect Convert, we have a whole methodology that we use to score calls. And it includes elements like empathy, personalizing the conversation, and a bunch of other KPIs that we monitor that polite just doesn't cover it. I'm sure that hello was the nicest hello, right? But if that lead costs $600 to $1,000, and if that lead would have represented a catastrophic case, somebody got run over by a Coca-Cola truck or something, like, that could be worth a lot of money, and that was a missed opportunity. Like, that's a big deal. That, like, being polite just doesn't cover it.
There, I hope you're enjoying the conversation and your sandwich as much as we are. I want to take a moment to share a few words about our sponsor, Marketing Boss. If you're a law firm owner looking to supercharge your growth, our team at Marketing Boss is here to help. We've got over a decade of experience and a proven track record, and we specialize in growing law firms like yours with data-driven marketing leadership. So if you own a law firm and you're ready to get a predictable, steady flow of cases from your marketing, let's connect at marketing-boss.com.
I 100% second you. And the fact that I was in sales before marketing really helps me, because I feel like a lot of times marketers can, kind of hide behind the scenes or whatever. And they don't really understand sales. And I would coach all my clients in saying, this is a sales process. Like, whoever answers the phone, I get it. I get that you're trying to save money, and that intake's typically, like a entry-level job, but you have to have your intake like on point. it will 100%. There's a million law firms, like hundreds just around you that they could pick from. And what's going to make you different? Empathy and the way that the compassion and the way that they answer the phone. So when I developed, so long story short, I was helping them train their call center and helping them also find a third-party call center for the after-hour overflow.
Oh gosh.
And it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Yeah.
I'm being triggered.
There's
right
no
now.
way to train. Yeah, there's no way to train an after-hours call center to sound anything better than an after-hours.
And when they're answering calls for a dozen other businesses, like it just gets messy. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So intake EQ, I knew it had to sound like a human, and I knew it had to sound empathetic, and it needed to get to the point fast, right? It needed to get through the qualifiers, whatever your vertical is, and determine, is this a lead? Is this not a lead? And if it is, we need to transfer it to someone, and that person needs to basically, that person's being like spoon-fed assigned case. Like they just need to close it up. So to your point, then you can hire better intake and have a smaller team, because now you can be paying $1 a minute or less for an AI agent that sounds like a real person sitting at the front desk of your law firm. And if you've got 6 attorneys, they know all 6 of them. They know your paralegals. They know who to transfer the call to. And they could have taken 100 calls today, and they still sound empathetic on every single one.
Yeah.
So,
And for the attorneys that are listening, or law firm owners that are listening, that maybe you're new to Google and you're thinking, oh, well, if I target well enough in Google, or if my marketing team's targeting well enough, I should get quality. Like I should. Here's the reality. Like people don't read, they don't pay attention. My favorite cautionary tale is I once had a campaign that I was leading, and the campaign literally said, do not call us if the accident was your fault. And people still called. Yeah, I was in an accident and I got a ticket. Can you guys help me? And we're like, ah! Like there's no way to eliminate poor leads. When it comes to Google or even Meta, honestly, any digital paid ads, you have to have a way to weed through garbage leads. And yeah, sometimes you can improve the quality of the leads with the marketing, but let's just set proper expectations. Like you're not going to be able to eliminate garbage leads altogether. It's just not possible. And I'm not being pessimistic. It's just the reality, because that's how the consumer is. They search something and they don't know how to search. They're confused about what they're searching, and then they're confused about what they're reading, not because it's not clear, but because it's just confusing to them. And for personal injury, workers' compensation, and even family law, a lot of these people, if you think about it, they're in the middle of a trauma. So their judgment's a little off anyway. They're stressed out. I mean, crim, right? They just got thrown in jail. Like their attention span's just not there. So you have to have a system to weed through and pre-qualify the leads. And it sounds like you're doing it through AI, so that we can have that first filter phase. Yeah. And then turn the lead over to somebody to sign them up.
Yeah, exactly. And my AI agents can, and I don't know if you know of Delisi Friday. She's like the referral queen. But I had an interview with her, and she was asking me about intake EQ. And I'm a huge advocate of referrals for attorneys. I feel like most attorneys are not doing them right. That's not my vertical, reach out to Margarita, reach out to Delisi, like whoever's the specialist in that. But they're not, referrals are the golden ticket. That's the best lead you're ever going to get. Second best is going to be like Google or something like that. Third best, and you're talking about Meta, oh God, you better have a good intake filter, because when you start doing Meta leads, holy crap, like you will get everything. It's crazy. But yeah, so my AI agents can even transfer to another vertical. So if you're personal injury, but you have a relationship with a family lawyer, a criminal lawyer, an estate lawyer, et cetera, and you have that referral partnership because you're their personal injury lawyer, and then you refer out all the leads that you're pulling in that aren't relevant to your vertical. Great win-win, great way to not waste all the leads that you're getting. Because to your point, you could say, were you injured in an accident? And they call and they're like, I need an immigration lawyer. And you're like, it literally didn't say anything. I guess it said lawyer, like, I don't understand.
And that's a good one, because I do bilingual marketing because I'm bilingual, and Hispanic is like my thing. People in Latin America, the legal systems in Latin America, you go to one lawyer for everything. So in their head, every single lawyer does everything. So it's hard for them to wrap their mind around, oh, that's family, that's personal injury, that's, whatever. So that I do see that a lot. And for those of you that are listening, like the 3 categories, the referral, the inside your case type, and then the with that are Google, and then the meta. Here's just an illustration. The referral will call your law firm and leave a voicemail, call again on Saturday, call again on Monday, and very politely make every bit of effort to get on your calendar and wait patiently for your call. That's the referral. That's what she means by those are the easiest, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the Google. The Google's just going through the Rolodex, right? They're just going through Google. They're like, oh, that one didn't pick up, next. Oh, that one didn't pick up, next. The meta is like, oh, yeah, maybe I'll call, fill out the form, and never mind, forgets about it. So that literally is the illustration of those 3 types. And you're right, like the meta is the hardest to sell to. And when we train in Connect Convert, we train around digital leads, which is Google and Meta, because in our mind, if we can teach you how to sell to those leads, we call them the slippery fish because they're trying to get away all the time, then you're golden. And I really love that, your AI solution then is really great as an initial filter. I want to ask how affordable it is, but instead, I'm not going to let you answer that question. And I'm going to encourage people to book a call with you to find out what that can look like to implement at their law firm. So how can attorneys get a hold of you, law firm owners get a hold of you, intake managers get a hold of you for more information on how to get leads and also the intake AI that you have?
Yeah. So you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can email me. It's KLEE@legalleadsharks with an S.com. I'm sure you'll have everything in the show notes. But yeah, I would love, and I've got all of my agents are also bilingual in up to 6 languages. English and Spanish are the 2 that I use the most. And I do bilingual marketing too. And to your point, like, even if we're in Texas, I'm like informal Mexican Spanish, like on a 3rd grade reading level. So it's everything that you can do to try to get, I do 3rd grade reading level for English too, just so everyone knows. Cause no one's, to your point.
Yeah. Keep it
2 seconds. You got 2 seconds to get their attention. Like if they read any of it. So, but then I'm like, okay, informal.
That's funny.
Dominican Spanish, because it's
all different. Do you have Bad Bunny Spanish? That would be great.
I know. I don't want Google to slap me for that, but most of what I do, I feel like I'm like, since I'm in Oklahoma, I get like a lot of, this is my area, Oklahoma, Texas. So it's a lot of informal Mexican Spanish, which is good because once it branches away from that, I'm like, I mean, I can read the search terms, but when they're, like even trying to do the call recordings, listening to those, I'm like, damn, they talk fast. Wow. I wish I could slow this down a little bit. But yeah, so they're bilingual too, but I would love, reach out to me. I can give you some demo lines that you guys can call and listen to them. We've got Southern voices, we've got New Yorker voices, we've got Spanish, and we got everything. So it really does sound like a real person.
That's
it's
awesome.
Really great.
How, so what's your website? How can they reach out to you? Is it via phone or?
Yeah. So legalleadsharks.com is one website. That's the marketing website. And then intake-EQ, like elephant and then queen. I named it EQ because it has to have emotional intelligence. I thought about IQ, but I was like, it really, I need people to know that, like, and lawyers know intake. That's a medical and legal term, intake. And then EQ, we all know, is emotional intelligence. And that's what we train our agents to do, is, have that extra touch that makes them feel like a human.
That's great. So there you have it, guys. And before we wrap up, because I could talk to you for days, share with us what your favorite sandwich is, because this is the Care Sandwich podcast. So we all talk about sandwiches.
I love anything panini. I think just sets a sandwich over the top, but my very favorite sandwich is probably a Cuban.
Interesting. Okay. Are you Cuban or somebody in your family Cuban? No.
No, my husband's Mexican, El Salvadorian. But no, I went to Miami for a while, and it was the first time I had had a Cuban sandwich, and I'm like,
Yeah,
this
the
is
bread.
awesome.
The bread is
I'm
what
from
gets me.
So Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, there you have it, guys. You can get in a hold of her and learn all about how to get more leads for your law firm and how to apply AI with an emotional, intelligent look and feel for your intake to sign up more of those leads into cases. Thank you for watching, and we'll catch you next time on Care Sandwich.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Care Sandwich. Remember, the way we care for our clients, our teams, and ourselves can make all the difference in our success. Until next time, keep caring, keep growing, and I'll see you on the next episode of Care Sandwich.